I am very much interested about how someone else accesses a gallery or accesses a work. And so I think in this work it kind of does both, because these are mini galleries. So, you know, getting people, I've done it at a height that I think you're coming in from the front entrance, you can get a little snippet into each of the boxes through the door, but you actually have to physically approach each of the works and look over it to see what's in there. And then also the passageway, I didn't want it to be just, you know, like a walk through the gallery, but I didn't want it to be so that you wouldn't walk up to them either. So it's kind of trying to find that balance so that you have to be aware of yourself in relation to these objects, but not to an extent where you wouldn't engage. Hopefully, that's what I'm trying to do.
Yeah, like I think the spacing is really good at that. Like it sort of it draws you in because you want to see more of the work, and it's got the right amount of distance where you can do that. At the same time, like you're saying, you have to be really careful about where you stand in your body positioning in relation to these works, and it's kind of interesting that inside the little works individually there's that play as well, so it's kind of played out in both spheres, I guess.
And it was also important, like, because, you know, as a whole they're very much a work, you know. I think there's relationships between each of them, they look like a work, but at the same time I wanted to emphasise the fact that in each object is a work on its own, so I guess that encouraging you to engage with it, and just hoping that that will become clear as well, so that they don't just get lost, I suppose, on that.
Yeah. I suppose another really interesting aspect for me about the work is that the kind of miniature box copy galleries and the frames were handmade by you, and then the works inside them are mainly prefabricated kind of items, and in that way it kind of removes the artist's hand from the potential artwork or the idea of the artwork in there, and that's again, that's kind of a nice, it's interesting how you flip that around, so the objects that aren't, I suppose the hierarchy is kind of swapped around, right?
Yeah, and it was kind of, in the beginning it was unintentional, like in the beginning it was all going to be made by me, like all the mini installations, I had images of Fimo and sticky tape and skewers and I don't know, all sorts of like foil instead of mirrors, but then once the objects kind of were realised, I just felt like they deserved something. But then I was going to have like a mixture of both, like I really wanted mirrors, so I had to buy those, and then I was going to make some things, and of course the foam I really wanted, so that had to be fabricated. But then as it grew, the more installations I kind of made, the more sense it made to make sure they were all fabricated, because I think that then speaks about the work on another level, perhaps. So it was kind of, it ended up that way a little bit, and then it was intentional.
And how did you sort of come to the conclusions you had? Like I was saying earlier, there were a lot of ideas floating around initially to actually put one of these kind of larger scales in here, but how did you kind of narrow it down to the 9?
I don't know, honestly. I'm sorry. It's just, some are always going to exist, like the foam is always going to exist because I'm the block foam, because that's a work I've been wanting to do for ages. And then this light work is a work that I've been wanting to do for ages. And the cage work is a work that I've also been wanting to do for a while. And then, you know, like the cushion, that was supposed to be initially a jumping castle, and then it turned into this kind of bouncy final thing. And then the pool, that just kind of happened because I thought it would be ace to have a pool in this space. It's like summer, everyone's really hot. Imagine going to a gallery and having a swim. That'd be awesome. And then other things, it would just be, I'd find a material along my travels and go, I really have to use that material, and what could that material look like in space and things.
I guess I'm interested in talking more about that interest in materials. Like, we kind of talked a lot about the relationship between like maquettes and the installations themselves, but I guess I'm interested in how the content of the installation speaks about your broader interests as an artist, because I know you haven't always worked on this miniature scale, that you actually made large installations that are, effective.
Yeah. Materials. It was really different, and I feel like it was a big sidestep in my practice, so it was difficult to kind of get a grasp on. So I think that continuing with, like, for me, these are actually installations. Like, for me, these aren't, like, when people say maquettes, I kind of feel weird about that, because they're fully realised works, in my head in this space. But I don't know, what do you mean?
Well, because you haven't worked like this, or I guess these installations, how they, do you think they just kind of follow on from the rest of your practice, and what is that practice about? Whether we're doing about materials and that just speaks about a relationship to really more installation.
Yeah. It definitely stems from everything else I do, and for me it's very much about my engagement with the gallery, I suppose, and then the viewer's engagement with the gallery. I think that's my primary focus, and then my attraction to materials is quite particular, I think, and I can see there's a definite reference to minimalism, and I of course enjoy minimalism. But it's kind of like a nervous twitch that I have, though, is that I just automatically pare back, and I've been working on this show for ages. So initially there were a lot more extravagant works, but it's just what I do, that I try and represent an idea as best I can in the most gestural way, I suppose. So what can I say about this thing without saying much, I suppose. That's what I try and do. And so I think these stem from that a little bit.
Well, playing on what Kate was saying, do you find that a lot of the materials you choose, like if you think about how you engage with these works, like it's actually really fun. Looking, as much as you could feel quite imposed by it, you could also think of how cool it would be to go into a ballroom or a padded room or somewhere where you have to, almost be forced to touch the work to get around it. Do you think that there's that play is really important?
Yeah, absolutely. I find materials really sexy, and it's just enjoyment of materials and enjoyment, and I love the gallery, but I'm also a little bit freaked out by it, but it is a genuine love that I have for it, it's not, and so, but I am hesitant and, nervous and whatever, and I think that goes for the viewer as well, and so it's like, what can you do to shift that, perhaps, a little bit, and if you're experiencing it and not thinking about it, perhaps that's one way. Like they're rubbing up a big microphone. Sorry, that came out maybe wrong. But yeah, definitely. I hope that they're some of them fun. They're fun for me. I have fun funny. Like walking in and being blinded. That's really fun.
I suppose sort of on that note, is that kind of forcing there seems to be that two feelings there that you have with the gallery, maybe because I know you work curating as well, that comes into it, where you might have this sort of love-hate kind of intimidation, love for the gallery kind of space. Does it seem to you maybe that you kind of try and flip that and force that upon the viewer in the way you manipulate them in the space as well? Or?
I think that if I do that, it's to take my mind off my experience of interaction or assumptions or whatever, just to kind of reflect that. But it's not in any way an attempt to make me feel uncomfortable